Hi, everyone. My name is Lydia-Rose, and I'm super excited to be a part of the Scotiabank Charity Challenge Home Stretch. I'm here today to show you guys a few static stretches that we can do on race day, as well as some activation exercises and some more dynamic, more functional stretches that you can also do before your race, and that might actually be helpful for you after your race. So I'll be walking you through a few different really simple stretches that don't require any equipment at all. So let's get started. Standing up, we're going to start with our hips and we're going to work our way down to our ankles. So the first stretch that I have for you guys is a runner's lunge. It's super chill, very simple, and we can do this one standing up, and then we can also do it from the ground. So I'll show you guys both versions. So standing up, I'm going to start with my left leg forward, and I have my right leg back. I'm trying to keep my hips nice and still here. I don't want to lean into that right side. So from here, once I'm in this position, I'm just going to lean forward a little bit, keep my back leg straight, and try to tuck my hips a little bit. It's going to be a really small motion, but just the act of tucking that hip is really going to pull on that right side. So we're just going to hold this stretch for a good 30 seconds, and then we'll switch to the other side. We're trying not to arch the back too much while doing this. We want to stay nice and tall. You want to feel like you have a nice string pulling the top of your head. Good. After we've done 30 seconds on this side, we can either switch to the other side, or one of my favorites is adding an arm. So with that right leg back, we're going to take that right arm up, and then we're going to reach up and over and hold that stretch for about 15 seconds. So now we're engaging from the tips of our fingers all the way down into that right hip flexor. We've got that entire side engaged and stretching. Beautiful. And when we've held for 15 seconds, you just come up and switch sides. So same thing with the left. Make sure that foot goes right back behind you and just slightly tuck the hips under. You can squeeze that left butt cheek to give yourself a bit more stability. And we're just holding for 30 seconds. Another option, if you want to turn this stretch a bit more dynamic, is we can just sort of pulse back and forth a little bit. The other option is to just stay nice and still. Good. We've got 3, 2, and 1. So let's add that left arm up nice and tall, and then leaning towards that right side. If you need to, you can always have a chair beside you to hold on for a bit more stability. If you're finding it a bit challenging to keep your balance on this runner's lunge, that's totally fine. Good, and slowly coming out of it, and then coming up. The next stretch I have for you guys is going to be on our knees. So if you have something that you could put under your knees for a bit more cushion, I'm going to use my mat. Even using a rolled up towel is fine. A rolled up sweater is also fine. So coming down on our knees, we want our hips to be hip width apart. And we're going to take our right foot and just bring it straight out to the side. So if you look to yourself to the side, we shouldn't have any angles. Okay, so I want it straight out. I want that toe pointing forward. And from here, we're going to sit back into our hips, bringing both of our hands down. And this is going to allow us to feel that adductor muscle down in the inner thigh area. Same thing here. This is a static stretch, but if we want to add a little bit of movement, you can just rock your hips backwards, which is going to feel more of a stretch, and then forwards to relax that muscle a little bit. So we'll come into it for 10 reps here. 2. You want to focus as well, because we are stretching that lower body, try to keep that upper body relaxed as much as possible. We don't want those shoulders scrunching up or looking up. You want to try looking down so you keep that nice long spine. Good. Once we've reached those 10 reps, we're going to take that right hand, so same hand as leg that's out. That arm is going to reach under the left one. And we're going to twist our spine a bit, and then from here we're going to twist in the opposite direction, and hand goes up towards the sky. So that's adding a bit of a spinal twist to our adductor stretch, which just kind of helps incorporate the whole body into that stretch. So let's do 5 reps here. Good. When we've done our 5, let's bring that leg in and let's switch to the other side. So left leg straight out to the side. Make sure you're sitting into those hips and you're going to lean back a little bit. We're going to go 10 reps going back and forth, keeping our shoulders away from our ears, keeping everything super relaxed on our upper body. Awesome, guys. Let's take that left hand, bringing it up. It's going to come under that right hand, reaching towards the opposite side of the room, and then twisting up towards the sky. Let your gaze follow your hand on either direction here. Good. After our 5th one, we're going to bring that leg in and relax it. Awesome. So that was our adductors. To get a little bit more into the hamstrings, we can do a stretch from our knees as well, and we can do a standing one, and I'll show you guys both. So the kneeling one first, let's get into it. Hips stay nice and square, and that leg comes nice and straight right in front of you. Now you want to flex that foot. By flexing that foot, we're going to engage that entire posterior chain. From here, all we have to do is sit our hips back a little bit, as if we were going to sit down on our bottom ankle. And by hinging forward and just keeping that gaze looking up and out, we're going to be feeling all the way down that back hamstring there. So if you have enough balance to hold yourself like this, that's totally fine. If you need a little bit of extra help, you can always grab a roller or a chair just to hold on in one of your hands, just to be able to really feel that stretch and not have to worry about falling over. Make sure that foot stays flexed. We're just going to hold for about 25 to 30 seconds. Same thing here. There should be no tension in that upper body. And we want to focus on our breath as well. So we're going to take 4 deep breaths in and exhale out. Awesome. Let's come on out of it here and let's just switch to the other side. So same thing, flexing that foot, making sure those hips are nice and square. So we don't want to sit into any hips. That's kind of cheating. So nice and tall, and then just hinge forward, bum goes back, and just sit into that hip right there. Beautiful. All right, come on up, shake it out. So one last static stretch for you guys, and then we're going to get going into a bit more dynamic stretching. So we always want to start with our static stretching because dynamic stretching mimics the run that we're about to do. So we want to save that for last so our body gets prepared to move. So last one, though, is going to be for our calf. So I would usually find myself a wall, the back of a chair, the back of a bike as I'm doing, and I'm just going to flex my foot and put the sole of my foot on the chair here. All I have to do from here is lean my body weight forwards. That's going to be stretching that whole back of my left calf here. This can stay put for about 30 seconds, or like we've done with the previous stretches, we can sort of rock back to release it and then rock forward to stretch it. We can do about 5 reps of that. Awesome. When you've done 5 rocks, just switch legs. You can shake it out and get that other leg up nice and tall, and then just lean your body weight forward and back. Good. Beautiful. All right, guys, shake it out. So you want to find yourself a nice open space, and we're just going to do the same thing that we did with our static, starting with our hips and then working our way down to our ankles here. So let's do about 5 reps for everything just to keep it nice and simple. We're going to start with what I like to call open gates. So we're going to come into an external rotation of our hips. So knee's going to drive forward, and then we're going to externally rotate and bring it down. So starting with one side, this is also really good to help that balance before we get going. 3, 4, you want to try and keep this right hip nice and stable as the left one opens. Good. Let's do 5 on the right side here. Awesome. So 5 and 5, we're going to go the opposite direction and come into an internal rotation now. So starting back with the left leg, that knee is going to shoot out towards the side first. So right away, we go out to the side. Now bring it in and back down. So 5 like that. The slower you do these, the more controlled the exercise becomes. So faster is not necessarily better. Good. Let's go right leg for 5. Awesome. All right. Shake out those hips here. Getting into a bit of a hamstring dynamic stretch. What I'm going to do for this one is we're going to cross that left leg over top of the right leg. Okay, so we're going to maintain that stance, standing up nice and tall. This is going to stretch our right hamstring a little bit more than the left. So bringing those arms nice and wide, and then up over your head, and then we're just going to reach down, try to touch our toes. You can have a small bend to the knees here, but overall trying to keep them straight. I'm feeling a nice big stretch down the right side of my hamstring. So we'll go 5 reps with the left leg forward, and then 5 with the right leg forward. And 5. Beautiful. All right, let's switch up those legs. We're going to bring the right leg in front of the left leg. Same thing, reaching up nice and tall and hinging down. Awesome, guys. Let's get into our quads, start to work that front of that leg a little bit. So really basic, we're lunging forwards. We're going to add a spinal twist like we did in one of the previous stretches. We're going to twist over that front leg. So my left leg is forward and I twist to the left. I come back. We're going to alternate this one, coming to right, twist to the right and back. So let's do 5 aside here. Good. Two more. Here we go. 4 and 4. 5 and 5. All right, so our muscles should be feeling a little warm starting now. We've got the front, we did the back. Let's get into those adductors a little bit. So coming into a side lunge, I want us to sit our hips back as if you were going to sit in a chair, and we're going to drive this leg up into a knee drive. Coming back down into our lateral lunge, knee drive. Try if you can to pause, as I'm just doing now, at the very end of the motion. Squeezing that left glute is going to help stabilize you. Good, last one. Awesome. So give it a try on the other side. You'll probably notice that one side is stronger than the other, and it's usually our dominant hand side. Good. So now adding stability, make sure you're squeezing that right glute. Last one here. And 5. Good. All right. Let's shake that out, and we're going to come back down onto the ground for a little sequence for our glutes lying down, and then we're going to finish up with a nice calf sequence. So now laying down, I'm going to be on my side. I can be fully relaxed in my upper body. I'm not doing anything here. My legs here, my bottom leg is going to stay bent, and my right leg is going to come up and nice and straight. And if I were to look sideways, it's going to be right down so that I'm making a nice straight line. Hand on my hip. So this is going to help me control to make sure my hip isn't going to be jutting out. So all I want to see here is toe pointing forward. We're going to engage that glute and bring that leg up. So we're going to do 10 reps like this, 3, and then we're going to make it a little harder. Good, that's 7, 8, 9, 10. So where we are now, let's bring that leg 45 degrees back without shifting that bottom leg or shifting our body at all. Hands still on the hip, leg 45 degrees back. Now bring that knee, foot up, 2, 3. So it becomes harder to move when we really feel that glute med working. 4, 9, and 10. Okay, guys, one last one. We're not done yet. So bring that leg 45 degrees forward. Same thing. Keep those hips square and 10 reps. So we end up doing 30 reps on one side. This is a really good glute activating exercise. 4, that's 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Whew, all right, relax. You should be feeling that glute right on that side there. Let's just do the other side, and then we'll stand up again. So nice and down, bottom leg stays bent, right leg straightens out. We flex that foot to engage that posterior chain, and we're coming 10 reps straight out to the side. 6, that's 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. We take our leg, bring it back 45 degrees, keep those hips facing forward, and drive out. 2. Now that leg is going to want to creep back forward, so make sure you're really focusing on keeping it back. 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10. Awesome. Last one here. Bringing it forward, keeping those hips facing forwards and up. 2, 6, that's 9, and 10. Awesome. Whew. Shake it out, relax it out. Bring yourself back up to a standing position here. We can take rid of our mat or a towel, whatever we use to be on the ground. This last one here, guys, is for your calves. So we tend to always focus on the big muscle groups when we're running, but the calves and the ankles is really what's going to give us our stability during our gait, during our race. So a fun little calf sequence I have for you guys and ankle stability is, I'll face sideways so you guys can see. So we're going to come up onto our tippy toes, okay? We're going to hold and we're going to balance. From here in our high arch, I want us to come down into a squat. So maintain that high arch. We're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to sit those ankles, we're going to sit the heels back down, straighten up. Good. So every position we want to hold about 5 seconds. So as we come up back onto our high arch, we hold for 1, 2. We want to squeeze our glutes. 3, 4, 5. We're going to come down into our squat for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Heels down, and then extend back out. So let's do that 2 more times. I'll face the front for this one. So we're going to come up for 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come down into that squat, making sure those knees are going right over the ankles. 2, 3, 4, 5. Sit the heels down and up. Good. Last one. 2, 3, 4, 5. Slowly coming down. We're sucking in our belly button to our spine, so we're engaging our core at the same time. 2, 3, 4, 5. Down and up. So now, 4 reps of that is pretty good, and we're going to reverse the whole sequence and do 4 times that way too. So starting right away into our squat, so squatting normally down. Now we're going to bring ourselves up into our high arch. We're going to hold 2, 3, 4, 5. Now focus on lengthening as we straighten up. So feel like you've got a string pulling you at the top of your head. We're holding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then heels down. So let's do that 2 more times. So get into a nice deep squat. From here, lifting the heels up and holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to slowly make our way up, squeezing our glutes as we lengthen our legs. 2, 3, 4, 5. Heels down. All right, guys. One last time and then we're done. Shake it out. Those ankles and the sides here, they're going to start to get feeling nice and tight, but that's exactly what we want. So we're coming down into our squat. We're going to lift those heels up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming up. Lengthen. 2, 3, 4, 5. And back down. All right, guys. So these are just a few examples of exercises that you can do. Doing a combination of all of them, because we've kind of targeted different places in our legs, are going to be really good prep, whether the week before race day or an actual race day, just to get that body nice and warm and getting ready for the race. So enjoy, guys. Have a great race.